Ponder is so much more interesting than everything else, every other token in terms of design.
Speaking of so much more interesting, hello and welcome to this week's episode of Pit
Christ.
Against the Live Flesh of a College Show. I'm William
Nope.
Table and Legs. I'm joined by the interesting Kevin Smurph Murphy. Kevin, what's up?
What's up?
Pit Against is an interesting live call-in show. If you'd like to be live on air
Stop.
talking, join the. I'm done. By clicking on the link that's in the description, join the waiting room channel. Put your hot take in the topic section channel. We like your take and pull you on for a mic check and put you on air. You may also put your take in the topic section channel in the Steam chat or in the comments for me to bring up if you can't make it on. Kevin, what's up?
Yeah, Whiplash. Yeah, Whiplash.
Welcome. welcome to Whiplash. I don't know. You won an event.
I did. I won the 1K at SCGCon Richmond this past Saturday.
The ProQuest Plus,
Yep.
effectively.
So, got a PTI. That'll qualify me for Worlds. I'm not qualified for Vegas yet, and I want to use that on Worlds because I'm kind of okay if I don't play Vegas
Same.
because Prism's about to LL,
Oh.
and I don't mind having a season or a tier 4 off to
Play Cube.
learn a new deck or learn the rest of the game or do other stuff. So
That's great.
then go back to Worlds and
And win
give
with
it a
Ziggy.
that'd be pretty neat
Top 8 on Ziggy, at least. That would be sick.
in 2 formats.
In 2 formats. Oh, sick.
I don't know, probably not. They're gonna have
Worlds-
us draft whatever set 20 is.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say,
Hey, if they
Isn't
give us
Worlds
Prism
20?
3 though, and I get to play 15 rounds of Prism 3 in CC and draft.
It would be really funny if they give us Prism 3 and you're like, all right, 15 rounds of Prism and draft and Ziggy and CC. That would be...
Yeah, because I just don't like Prism
yeah.
in CC at all. Yeah, that's entirely possible.
That's what I'm loosely expecting. Not to make like sweeping assumptions, but like I don't know what they're doing with this. Actually, so there was someone who brought up the fact that it looks like they're changing Illusionists to be more temporary with their permanent boards. Was that you that literally said that? And I'm quoting you.
I mean, I think I've said something similar, at least about Ziggy in particular, where it seems a lot less like permanents that give you recurring value every turn, which is kind of the hallmark of Illusionists prior to Prism 2, Prism Awakener of Soul. Dragons stayed there forever until your opponent cleared them or popped them. And they got 2 ways to interact with them. But you could just get infinite value turn over turn. It didn't cost anything to attack with them. The same with auras in OG Prism. Enigma had a little bit of a cost on it, but then your opponent only had 1 way to attack, and it created a weird kind of tug of war that wasn't super healthy for the game, I think, still. But they were still trying to go that direction of every attack costs you 1. You can't infinitely scale for free.
Yes.
But this Ziggy not getting...
He's not getting like... He's not getting consistent turn-over turn value, but he is getting multiple value. What?
They?
God dang it! This is not going to be a trend. I'm kicking that eventually.
No, I think Ziggy is going to be able to get multiple value, as in
Which
twice.
is great. Which is great. Which
Not
is just
infinite.
great. But it's not infinite.
Yes. I think Ziggy's going to be already looks to be much better balanced than previous Illusionist in terms of how the snowball works, which people are really freaking out already because they're like, nah, the deck seems busted. You're giving Arcane to Illusionist. You're doing that. It's like, they took all the busted text for Illusionist is on the weapons.
True, right?
Where's our infinite? There's no infinite go again. There's no infinite action points. There's no your aura weapons that have a +1 counter on them get go again when they attack.
I mean, you still have other kind of busted things. The word
you
Phantasm.
have above rate attack actions that they introduced another mechanic which makes it very profitable for any deck to block them in Fragment because all their cards get
Oh,
+2
yes.
block. Like, you have super above rate attack actions. That's fine, though. There's no deck that just stomps, except, I guess, a Cilio if they're on 23 instants or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm not scared that this Ziggy is going to feel anything like previous Illusionists in terms of the feels bad of a snowballing board state. Because that's like what really does it. It's not Ziggy might feel bad because it's like an aggro deck running you over. That could be a problem for sure. But it's not Ziggy's nowhere near Enigma or OG Prism in my mind. If they're a problem.
Yeah.
But
I wonder if Fragment is going to be a Lightning Illusionist thing or an Illusionist thing. Because it seems more like just an Illusionist thing. Like,
I think we'll see what the cards are in the set. Because if we see
it
a
feels
generic.
vague
There
enough.
aren't currently. It doesn't look like there's going to be generic Illusionist cards in the set. So we might not have an opportunity to see Fragment.
Yeah, they could be in expansion slots still.
Maybe, but I don't know. We'll see on that one.
We'll see on it. All right. There we go. We got off tangent. Let's go.
Yeah, all the way back.
Sick. I don't know. I'm excited for the set. I'm excited to draft. That was actually okay. One of my locals, I'm gonna get off on another tangent. One of our newer locals was like, "Hey, can we do some draft armories? Because we don't know how drafting in Flesh and Blood feels." And I'm like, "Yes! I just want to open packs specifically to play bad decks." All right. Anyways, my hot take: the meta might be too wide. A wide meta is the widest meta is a problem.
If so, let's call it competitively. A meta that is too wide is unhealthy. Is probably unhealthy in its own regard, or by like inherently unhealthy, I should say, because it increases your variance on matchups.
Yes,
because they can't balance all the matchups perfectly. They can't make them. They can't reduce the number of 90-10 matchups in the meta to close to zero or as close as we want it to zero.
Yeah.
So you introduce, I guess your point being, we introduce too much gem variance, and because of that, it's unhealthy. Yeah.
Yes. So by introducing gem variance this way can cause, in my opinion, some problems at a competitive level. This is less a problem if you're looking at more from like a team perspective. If you're like fists up in the air proud because you had careful, you're sounding like Runaways. No, they already well, one of them, I don't remember. They didn't hate that idea of a super wide meta. But if you're just happy a team member made top 8, then it matters less because you have multiple shots at getting that top 8. But with the gym roulette nature of a wider meta, you're you just can't be as prepared for your opponents. Like specifically an example being your sideboard is different forms of proactive game plan most of the time, or the decks you're the most scared of, which is hard to plan for because the meta's so wide.
Yeah, it definitely does stretch it in that regard, but I think the issue with that argument is that's everyone.
Everyone has
every
to deal
deck
with
is
that problem.
doing that. It's just a different. That's a different challenge. That's not inherently a bad thing.
Okay.
There's a point where it's like because everyone is making the choice in some regard to give up points in one matchup for another.
Yes.
And I think LSS would argue that the better you use that sideboard, the better you should be rewarded. I think there is a point where that meta is too wide, where the effects of those choices start dropping. The meta can be wide enough for that to happen.
I guess that's true. Yep. The other point was if the meta is too wide to the point where gym variance is a problem, better players can't consistently win, right?
Well, yeah. So player skill starts dropping
Yeah.
as variance increases wherever the variance is.
So,
Um,
yeah, go ahead. I
so
guess,
it's
yeah.
we do. At what point does LSS want to mitigate that variance? I guess is it the meta being too wide inherently unhealthy? And I'm not sold that it is. I think it would
Okay.
depend on how many 90-10 matchups kind of exist between what you would call the
That's
viable
a good point.
decks. Because if you were to somehow have like everything within a 60-40 in the top 15 or 20 decks, then that'd be fine, but you don't.
That's
You
crazy.
you that's basically
Does
impossible.
that
Their
also just
job is not to
that sounds like a
reduce it to that
different kind
stage.
of boring meta? That almost sounds like it'd have to be coin flippy for that case.
Yeah, it starts approaching kind of coin flips on the games potentially because to have 60-40 into everything, that means you are sitting down and your result is independent almost of what you're sitting down across from
Yeah. You
because
don't
your
want
deck
that.
can't be trying to adapt to what your opponent is doing um,
Yes.
because there's too many things to adapt to. So that starts to get weird. So I guess there might actually be, the more I talk about this, the more I think about it, there is a point where the meta is too wide and where it starts making gem variance too large a factor. And I think I saw some of that this past weekend myself.
That's part of what I was going to get into. I have an overarching question that I'm going to get into after one more thing. Is like typically, oh my gosh, do I have to bring this up every episode? So in League of Legends, you have
Uh-huh.
1 billion characters to choose from.
180 but ish, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But the meta consists of maybe 40,
It it's gotten a little weirder now because they introduced fearless draft, but yes,
which was a
the
great decision.
oh, excellent.
Excellent
Oh my
decision.
goodness.
Um, Ooh, that leads me to a second question. But what ends up happening is typically the decks that people fall back on, or sorry, the characters that people fall back on are ones with high agency or a ton of options. And so,
Sure.
in that sense, there should
Oriana is
still,
always
even when it is
viable.
so wide, solo queue has roughly 50% for everybody. Um, the agency is what pushes things to the top. And so there should be better decks that people want to play because of the high agency. Uh, does it feel like that's what's happening with the meta as wide as what we have?
Not really. It's people haven't been in love with the way the game has been going, and it's
Do you mean
I
that
don't know. I've
like
talked with
in this meta, or do you mean like in
kind of
card
the
design?
general let's say the general direction of the last like 8 months or so.
Okay.
Um, the game has kind of felt like whoever has the better top 20 cards of their deck just has a much higher chance of winning.
Yeah.
Um, even if your second 20 would be better,
Yeah.
you're just kind of like locked out. And it's part of something that they've been trying to do, which is increase the variance in games a little bit and not have things be as consistent and the way that like Mistvale or Rosetta was. Um, It's like Aurora was an extremely consistent deck, and then it would have spike turns.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have real off turns that often. The games, and I guess part of that is also leaning into because when you end up in a meta that's this wide,
Hmm.
I think you have to play that way because you just have to play something that is going to consistently do something powerful, regardless of what you sit down across from.
Yeah.
And
And
that's where your agency is in that deck building and deck choice, not necessarily in the gameplay, which is something
okay. Okay.
I
No,
don't
that's no,
necessarily
that's
love.
interesting. It's actually not something I've thought of because what my response was going to be is like, wow, sounds like you're saying the whole format's coin flippy, but it's maybe deeper than that in the sense of like, I can just bring the right 60.
Kind of,
a
yeah.
bit.
Like it's the like having a deck that just like knows what it's doing and is every card is there with that purpose has kind of just become the theme for me. Um,
Sure.
and I think one of the best examples of that is June's Binset deck from Montreal. It's an extremely cohesive deck.
Hmm.
Um, every card is there to support one function, which is no matter what Runegate card you draw, you can resolve it when you banish it to ability. You have 4 Rune Chants and you can play it.
You have a
And
powerful
every
game
card in that
plan.
deck.
You're gonna play out the powerful game plan.
Yes. But and like that served her very well. Um, I don't know. It started when the meta gets this wide, it does start to feel a little weird, I think. But
Ooh. Okay. So my last question will be before we get to this beautiful comment is what is too wide? Right. So we were like
yeah,
discussing if it gets so wide, it gets to the
yeah.
point where the matchups have to be coin flippy to be even, or they're not even. They're like 90-10s.
It's the matchups aren't necessarily coin flippy.
Sure.
It's that your gem variance is kind of coin flippy
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
either way. Or I'm not sure.
It can be both a bit,
It could
right?
be both. If everything is 60-40, I mean that just like that sounds like there isn't much agency, but then the 90-10s doesn't say that there's agency either. So like that number like doesn't necessarily matter.
That's a good point.
I think yeah, because agency is like independent of sorry, you can't have agency in the 90-10s. But the agency is independent, an independent factor that can only exist when it's like a 60-40-ish
Okay.
matchup
And so
is
you're
where I'm
looking for as many 60-40 matchups so that the
opportunity for
opportunity
people
for
to
agency.
push that number either
Mm-hmm.
direction is more likely because I don't think you can have agency if there's a lot of 90-10s.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't work. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's when you have a meta that wide, it's basically impossible to or once the meta gets wide enough, it's basically impossible to balance everything into a 60-40 range.
So
So,
what is too wide? This question is probably best
yeah.
answered in like a range or like a vibe. Like this is not like a
Um,
28, right? Like
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think if the average number of games you have in like 7 rounds, if you have 2 90-10s on average, that's probably too much. And that's like
I
that's
can agree with
independent
that.
of too
No, I can
wide.
agree with that. Yeah.
Because that isn't saying how wide is too wide, but that number will be influenced by how wide the meta is.
Yes. This is some wild like
Game theory stuff.
it's yeah, it's like heavy. It's like definitely it reminds me of like some math theory where you're like this concept is not set in stone. Based on this not set in stone concept, we have this concept we need to figure out.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like yeah, it's just a lot of like head math and weird jargon, but I think it
That's
is
why I went to
safe
grad
to
school.
say something like the more 60-40s we can have, the more likely the games will just feel good. And the wider the meta is,
Generally,
the
yes.
harder it is to balance, the more 90-10s are going to show up.
Yes. And
Okay.
I think we're kind of approaching that point.
I feel like,
Um,
dude, I feel like we're there. Like when,
I we could be. Hang on. I'm gonna
like
pull
I'm
up
sure you can,
like
yeah, go ahead. And like it's also, there's probably somebody who's like, I've been on Fab Blazing. There's not a single 90-10 matchup. That's not it. That's
that's
not it,
not
Chief.
it.
Um, and so in that sense, I feel like
You put a Victor down in front of a Phi, and that's going to be a 90-10.
when after you get to the 11th deck, roughly for me, and I'm just throwing a number out there, when you get to the 11th deck and you say its name, what are you playing today? Oh, I'm playing 11th deck,
Mm.
11th highest deck. And then I
Yeah.
go, oh, interesting. That's
Yeah.
when I feel like it's good. But when they say to the 11th deck, oh, okay, all right, yep, that makes sense, then that might be
Uh,
too many
for
for me.
reference, the 11th deck was Syndra in Toulouse, which
That's
was also
completely
tied
fine.
with Prism and Dory.
That's completely fine.
Yeah,
I mean to say, like, that's a completely fine
that's
hero. Someone says they're
not a
playing Syndra.
surprise.
Yeah, not a surprise. Not a surprise hero. What's the first surprise hero to you? That's my question. So,
Vincent would have been a surprise had we
okay.
not seen the week before. Valda, there have been rumblings of. I think like Puffin
Okay.
is the
So,
first hero where I'm like, oh, okay, you are a specialist or you're a
you're a diehard.
local.
You're a local. You're a diehard.
Yeah.
What number is that for context?
16th.
That's a lot. If
That's a
my
lot.
if my loose
But
metric of I think a good meta is 10 heroes, which is just purely vibe based and a nice
yeah.
round number, 16 sounds like a lot.
Mhm.
Or I guess 15. Now I'm gonna read Clark's message. I saw it and I was like, I want to get through this thought
Yeah.
process before I lose it. Clark, isn't this the natural conclusion of a game without any rotation? Like decks are just gonna get more and more consistent at doing the thing they want to do. Hopefully they LL, right?
But that doesn't, well, one, we have LL, so powerful decks should rotate out. And I think this is actually more an artifact of the LL system than an Eternal system. Um, because for us to be in a meta like this, stuff has to be equally powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, this doesn't happen
Yes.
because the top three decks will have 80 percenters or will be 60 across the board into everything
The
below it. And
cream
then
will
they,
rise to the top.
yeah. But like we kind of have that, but it's just like to a way lower degree
Mm-hmm.
than before. I
Uh,
don't think it's the yeah, I don't think it's the conclusion of a game without rotation because also we're like we're pseudo rotating with LL where we're always taking out the top decks. We're not taking out the old decks. We're taking out the top decks.
I'm completely okay with that, by the way.
Yeah, for
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
it's
But
awesome.
it's going to produce a different result
It's
than
gonna
just
look funny.
rotation.
It's gonna look
Yeah,
funny, especially to old heads who are
it's
played other
it's why
games.
Verdance is suddenly a good deck when everyone was like, this deck is terrible. What are we doing? It's a 40 health hero that has Striders and it still can't win.
Yeah,
But it got Burn Baron Light Bleeds, Enigma left, Aurora left, Syndra got nerfed super hard, Gravy got nerfed super hard, and then
heroes
fell off because
LL'd,
other
disappeared.
yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Like and
It gave
people said the
space
same
for
thing
this
about
deck.
Syndra. Like, why is Syndra suddenly the top aggro deck? It's like, well, Aurora LL'd.
Yeah,
It's not because like we rotated Uprising, but
yeah. That's what I'm
um,
referring to, Murph. The top
yeah,
decks leave, but all those middling and bottom decks just get better and better. Well, that's okay. They'll make more bad
yeah.
decks. They'll make more middling decks.
Decks are just going to get.
Uh,
Uh,
but isn't the meta
I mean,
wider because wait? But
I
isn't
mean
the meta
that's
wider because more and more matchups are 60-40? Uh,
mm, no. It's because you have more decks approaching an average win rate that is commensurate with the other top decks.
it's not 60-40 matchups.
No,
It's 60
60%
40
average
over a
win rate.
day, right?
Yes.
You play a day of games and you get
Yes.
60% win rate. You get 40% win
But
rate. You get 1-3
that's
drop. No, wait, that's
that's
me.
what produces.
Um,
I think that's what produces now, and that is more likely with if you have more 60-40 matchups.
mhm,
It's much more likely if you have more 60-40 matchups.
mhm,
But you just need decks that can produce 60-40 over an event
mhm,
to have that deck be a top deck and put up results as we would put it.
mhm.
Um,
I'm gonna pause the conversation for a second, Kevin. This is a serious personal question. I forgot to ask Brendan for his
uh-huh.
deck list, and I don't have him on Discord. You're gonna have to get
Okay.
me in touch.
Okay.
Because I
I'll
gotta
see what
know.
I can
I
do.
assume there's no special sauce that I'm gonna be like, oh, but like I do want to talk to him
I
about
don't
the
think
deck at
so.
least. Mirroring that.
Sure.
Andrew, I don't think rotation can functionally work with the way sets release cards for heroes and talents. I think
I
if
agree.
they go to hero rotation, you are going to have to reinvent the wheel with this game, and I
Yes.
don't want that.
The way they do sets would have to change.
I think a
And
lot of things would have to change, including me being okay.
yeah. I agree that they can't go to a rotation. I don't think they can go to a rotation system now. It doesn't seem like it would work. Um,
They'd have to change a lot. All right,
yeah, the
ooh,
LL system is a great way to do it. I want to go
here's the
back.
next question. Oh yeah, go ahead. I'll let you.
Clark, that's what I was referring to. Top decks lead, but all those middling bottom tier decks are getting better and better. You only get the wide meta if they're all getting better at the same rate. Just because if you have three decks like Enigma, Aurora meta that are all 60-40 into everything below it, that doesn't say anything about those tiers below it. You could have tier one, two, three, four, five, and 6. Or you could have tier 1 and tier 3, which is insanely wide. Those are you're like just
That's
because you lose tier
almost what it
1,
feels like we're in. It feels
yeah.
like tier 1 and tier 3. Like just the biggest,
It's like
fattest tier
it's like
2.
tier yeah, it's like tier 2. There's like tier one and a
Yeah,
half,
yeah.
tier 2, and tier 4.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yes.
And Sage feels very similar too.
Yes. Yeah. I wonder if LSS like that.
I think the meta will continue getting wider. Maybe. I don't think that's like inherently true.
The L system may really just work for this game, but I don't think flat distribution of points will work. There needs to be some polarization to get heroes moving out.
That's what they did. They put a 1.5x multiplier on
They
heroes
did
that are
do
2
that.
plus years
They did
old.
do that, and it is kind of working.
It's moving
It's
those
moving.
2-year heroes fast.
Yes. And that's kind of
Provided, provided they have the cards and provided they're meta relevant.
provided they're winning, right?
Yes.
Provided they're winning. You have to win to leave. You can't.
That is the point.
You do not leave the octagon until you have won, and that is important. I stand by that so hard. When I read it the first time that it's like winning heroes LL, you have to. Or I think it was James who was like, "You're not a legend if you don't get first place." Like,
yeah,
that people are making the argument, oh, why can't we give LL points to second place? I get it, but you're not a legend if you get second. Like,
yeah. Thematically, I understand their point.
James White, if he was a player and of this game and not a designer, would be the guy in finals being like, how about we split the prizing, winner take all? That would be a James.
Oh, yeah,
mindset.
James would 100% do
He would
that.
100% do
Bro,
that.
he's about to do that to Magic, to their face, I bet. He's going to go double or nothing.
Double or nothing. Yeah, it's not functional with ready to do raise appearance.
The meta's getting wider because their perception and gatekeeping decks are bad. I'll agree with that. That's 100% something that can happen, Clark.
Wait. Maybe
The
the
meta
deck
is getting wider.
maybe the meta is wider because their perception that the gatekeeping decks are bad. There is a perception that gatekeeping deck.
Yeah.
We should be having players should be playing nastier decks.
I mean, we could definitely be in a tighter meta if more people were playing what would be the gatekeeping decks or the best decks. If there's nothing, because it's funny. The meta, there's two metas.
Mm-hmm.
There's the theoretical matchups,
Mm-hmm.
and the way everything, like, if we were to play this format forever, we would get to where we have perfect theoretical knowledge of everything. And then there's what shows up at the event.
I love that so much too, though.
And they are not the same.
No, they're not.
Because what showed up on Saturday and Sunday was not what showed up in Toulouse.
No. And I think a good way to like
Saturday, Sunday in Richmond that I was playing.
Yes.
For context.
Good point. I think is that caffeine-free Coke?
Yes.
What are you drinking it for?
Because I don't want to drink just water.
Anyways.
And I don't want to drink every night.
Fair enough. All right. He's like, He's like, I want the taste of bad beer, but I don't know. I don't, but I don't want to drink tonight. All right. So,
And I don't want to drink 200 calories per can.
no, I've never thought to drink caffeine-free Coke. I only drink, yeah, zero sugar stuff. I get it, but caffeine-free stuff,
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? I'm a water enjoyer. I'm a water maxer.
I was, and I just like wasn't drinking enough of it.
I started
So I
drinking
started
my
doing other
drink
stuff.
enhancers. Oh
Yeah,
my
I started
gosh,
doing that
wait, that's
too.
what Coke
This
is.
is just a drink enhancer.
Oh no! All right,
It's just a drink enhancer.
this is the weirdest tangent. All right, 9 arachnids
Yeah.
showed up in the last week and never thought I'd see that. Oh yeah, so the point being is like the theoretical meta is what I call day 2 meta. The winners moved up to day
Closer.
2. It's closer.
Yes.
It's closer.
Yeah.
I think it's an easy way to explain it to people. It's not
Yeah.
exacts, but like day 1 metas are what do people want to play. Day 2
Yes.
metas are the
What is doing
people
well?
who
What is
what is
winning
doing
games?
well, what got to day 2, right? So
Yeah.
in that sense, I think I didn't look at it. I assume day 2's was a lot tighter in
Yes.
Toulouse. Where the frick is that in France? Where's Toulouse?
Yeah. It tightened up a lot. Okay, so that's conversion rates.
What?
We reduced, so all of the third column basically went to 0. All of the second column is one ofs. And then we have 14, 11, 8, 8, 8, 5, 5, 5.
14,
So like
11, 8, 8, 8, 5, 5, 5. Those are the real decks. In
yeah.
this
So
particular tournament, in this
yes.
particular weekend, at this
For what
particular
showed up at day 1, here's what
located
comes out.
entirely inside your kitchen, that's what showed up. And
Is
then
the meta in the room with
I
us.
dismissed the one ofs mostly and
Yes.
the zeros, but
Yeah.
how many huntsmen made day 2?
Uh,
Was it just Pablo?
Was 2 out of 6.
Okay. So the ones aren't dead, obviously, but also
Yeah.
the ones are pretty low, right? So there's obvious a difference between 14 and 1, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the meta does look a lot tighter, and maybe it's not. Maybe I have to go back on, is the meta too wide? Because if you look at the snapshot of day 2,
Yeah.
you can kind of be like, it's not that wide. People just don't want to play a good deck. People don't want to play a higher odd of winning deck, a more gatekeepy deck. You got a phrase for me?
A more meta deck.
A more meta deck. People don't want to play a more meta deck. They want to play their
Yeah,
Puffin.
I mean, Flesh and Blood has always had this thing where people are going to play the deck they want to play.
Like Pablo
That's
Pinto.
not. Sort of, not really. He plays whatever the best control deck is, I would
Control
say.
deck, yeah.
It's not really. He doesn't play Fatigue as a standard, but he plays what people would call control. He's always kind of done that between, except for Chain. Except for Chain. But like he played Oldhim and he played Enigma, and now he's playing Huntsman. He played Rhinar. He played Fatigue Riptide. Like he's a control player, but
This is a hot take. Most
Oh.
people aren't winning the calling. Why would they pick a deck they don't like? Because okay, all right, that first statement was from Clark. From Andrew,
yeah.
because they have low self-esteem.
Ooh.
That's
Sheesh.
not it.
Sheesh.
Listen. People still want to compete and attempt to win, and I think a lot of people at that calling. I think half those people at the calling are like, "Yeah, I got a shot."
I almost think that there's more of a reason for them to take their pet deck because they have higher self-esteem and they don't feel like they have anything to prove. There's a difference between self-esteem and competitive drive, or like confidence
Yeah.
in your competitive drive. That's I would separate those two things.
That's wild. No, I mean, there's a competitive drive you want to win. Winning games feels good.
Yeah.
Fortunately / unfortunately. And so, like, You pick a deck that you half like and know you can win with.
Yeah. Like I'm taking Prism to every event knowing that it is not the best deck in the room. Like it's uh, because I want to see how well I can
Most
do with
people aren't
Prism. I
winning
don't think
from
that has
whatever
anything.
deck
I don't think that's because I have low self-esteem.
I love that though.
Yeah, I mean that's just Vinset players. They only play that
Why don't
deck
they
because
pick a deck they? Why
bricks.
would they pick a deck they don't like? I don't know. I think some people. I think some people will separate entirely the concept of like they're not. They don't. There's a lot of people that don't care, especially in the more competitive scene. They don't care what hero they're playing, flavor wise. They don't care what class they're playing, and they half don't care what cards they're playing necessarily. They're just like, oh, this deck wins. This deck does the funny thing and still wins. Or whatever, right? Playing a Cilio, I draw
Yeah,
cards. I don't care that I'm playing a Golem. I could be playing anything. I'm drawing cards. Um,
yeah. It could be a picture of a ham sandwich.
I not famously, don't really care for the assassin class. You got two aesthetics: gore and feet. Well, not necessarily feet. Gore and goonerism, and I am not I'm not into either of those things.
Yeah,
I just want to say you discard a card.
yeah. I just play a
You
complicated
just
deck.
play instants. You play
Yeah,
instants and weird interactions that you get to explain to people.
yes. I like knowing more than the judges.
Actually,
The number of judge calls that have happened next to me and I give the answer before the judges do is probably too high and I should probably shut up.
I
But also the number of questions that I go to judges with where I'm pretty sure I know the correct answer, but I
mm-hmm,
just want to be sure
mm-hmm.
is also just like,
I've had very few
okay.
judge calls, mostly because they just don't come up, and I don't play the game as much, especially at a competitive level, than other people. For as much as I talk about it, holy frick! But I don't actually know like the vibe you should be having with judges because normally my vibe is like, here's the situation, here's the problem, and then I sit there silently for them to like finish their opinion on the entire thing.
Yeah.
I don't add any commentary or feedback or opinion unless it feels wildly incorrect. Um,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay, sick. Because we had a judge
I
call and I just sat there and waited for them to like deliberate over it. And I was like, I think I know the answer. Do I speak up?
Yeah.
They'll
I've
find. They'll
I've just
figure it
played
out. Never
Wizard
mind.
and Illusionist, and typically if I have a judge call, I'll explain what I think is happening and why I think it's happening, because that also can then help inform like the situation
Okay.
that's going on, and then also they can tell me why my thinking is wrong if it is.
Sure. Okay.
So
I'm attempting to do this combination of
yeah,
interactions. It works this way, right? No.
the my
Yes.
understanding
Yes.
is that this trigger goes on the stack, this continuous effect is already in place and goes off. Then the trigger tries to resolve. Does it do this?
I played Viserai for 5 years because I love the hero. I played Jarl now, hard
Well,
ice, because I hate looking across the table and seeing my opponent having fun. Dude,
I mean, Viserai was also like that when you played Skeletor.
yes. It was a different kind of not having fun.
Yep.
It was a
Both were zero sum though.
one was one was like storm, my opponent is not having fun, and the other is like stacks, my opponent is not having fun.
Yes.
All right,
So people
holy
convince
frick.
themselves they can compete with the deck they like. Shrugs. Yeah. I think
I
we
missed the
have a
combo deck.
Clark. We kind of have a rule in testing where it's like you, if you are choosing a deck to bring to an event, you should be aware of its limitations going into that event, and you can play whatever deck you want. We don't care. Just be aware that if you bring Prism, you are risking your brute matchups because they're bad. They're not as bad
Yes.
now, I guess, now that claws are gone. But like, I was fully accepting going into any of those events that if I saw brutes, if I saw KO, I was gonna have problems, and that's all that we like ask of people is just like if you're trying to go there and compete and do as well as you can with the deck,
You have to set your goals and
accept the
hopes
limitations.
on those limitations. Um, Also, I have a hard time with bad beats, myself and others. I have a low tolerance for them.
Yep.
Um, and so if you're like, not Kevin specifically, but if you're a Prism and you're like, I had 5 brute matches. Let me explain all of them to you in detail and cry about it. I'm not going to be able to be that shoulder to cry on. I'm just not.
You
Also,
chose Prism. You hit 5 brutes. That's
yeah.
it.
I mean,
Like
if you explain it that way, and then you're like, here's the actual problem that happened in a few of those games, like real quick, I'm totally chill. But
if they
like,
if they were
I'm not gonna
playable
sit there.
games and then something
I'm
else weird
I'm
happened,
not
like
gonna
they
sit there
discarded
while
double
you're.
beast within on a turn.
I'm not gonna sit there while
Yeah.
you're into your third drink, like talking about, and then the blood rush bellow. I just, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna
No.
hear the whole story.
No, no, no.
Um. All right. What was the? Did we have other things I wanted to talk about?
I don't
I
know.
think we've talked about wide meta, wide enough. Meta is a little wide right now, and I think it could be more
Yeah.
narrow, especially going. I think it could. I think it will be more narrow at the Pro Tour,
Oh yeah, it
right?
always condenses a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but I still think we're gonna see depending. We still have a ban list between now and Pro
Oh
Tour.
my gosh, when is that?
I 23rd, I think.
God dang.
That sounds right. Yeah, that's after the last week. That's after Memphis, day after
Okay, okay,
Memphis.
okay.
I don't think anything's really going to get hit because we're also going to probably have two. We're going to have at least one more hero LL, which is probably actually going to tighten up the meta a lot. I think if we lose
Oh,
Verdance,
that was the whole other half of the the point. Wait.
yeah,
Oh no, that was the next point. Okay. I was like, that's the other half of the wide meta thing that I wanted to talk about. It's like, oh, actually, both of
yeah,
my topics were like connected. But yeah. We're probably gonna have an LL. We're gonna have that ban list. I assume I'm guessing that Memphis is also gonna be wide. And if you're looking
yeah.
for slow decks, this is the part of the American country that plays slow decks. So strap in, right? We're gonna have our guardians and uh, verdances. They're gonna show up. Arachne huntsman.
Yep.
The next point. What's the meta considering recent LLs and potential LLs? KO's gone.
KO is gone.
KO's gone.
I don't think it moves like a ton. The brutes all start to look a little weird,
Mm-hmm.
but not anything crazy. Um,
They have to go to the drawing board a little bit.
Yeah, I don't really know how much stuff changes. In about 24 hours, we'll have calling Brisbane start, and that'll be interesting to see
Sick, actually.
what happens there.
I love these
Um,
weekly callings. I love it so much.
oh yeah,
It helps.
yeah,
It fully helps me be engaged in this game. I love it.
yeah. Um, I don't know. I don't think it like really changes that much because KO wasn't didn't have a lot of 90-10s, and that's like what moves the meta is when 90-10s
Leave.
enter and leave. Um, And like the KO Victor matchup was decent for KO, not crazy good, not as good as it used to be. The KO Pleiades matchup was really good for KO, but like that wasn't huge. The Valda matchup was slightly Valda favored, not crazy, but
Brutes
somewhere
have
55 to
been known
60.
as like anti-fatigue decks sometimes, where it's
Yeah,
like
KO
Reinhardt.
is KO has gotten steadily better at playing against fatigue
Mm-hmm.
over his lifetime because especially after Super Slam, he got Buckwild, which is just an
Yes.
absolutely insane card into fatigue. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Um, Medax Reinhardt can show up. We could have a really weird triangle for this weekend where we have Verdant slash Medax Reinhardt preying on fatigue decks that prey on aggro decks, which try and prey on Verdants and Medax Reinhardt.
I love
Um,
that. I don't know how
so
much
the
Meat right now we're gonna find, but Verdance
yeah,
there could be a fair amount.
but like you're gonna have a classic combo control aggro triangle.
I
I
love that.
think.
Yeah.
So we could see the meta like coalesce a decent bit this weekend, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be anything crazy. I worry a little bit once Verdance goes, but Acilio should fill that hole reasonably well. Um, It's
There's been a
not difficult for
few
people to.
people. There's actually been a few people on Bluesky. The more I talk about it, about I think I've said this actually. I've had this conversation multiple times on Bluesky where I'm just like, yeah, but you have Acilio that beats fatigue decks, and people are like, no, no, no. Acilio gets fatigued generally, and I'm like, I'm
That's not what
not.
it looked like day
It's
2 of
not.
Columbus.
It's not what it feels like when the best players at your armory. Yes, at
Yes.
at the big events, I don't think so.
The people who have practiced it, less so.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
did Fatigue get some good tools like Pleiades got by the book? Yes.
By the book is nasty.
Is that enough? I don't know. Yeah.
And so the other half of that is we're probably losing more heroes. Verdant's Prism,
Yeah.
right?
Prism, we're
Less
not
likely.
sure.
Less likely. Verdant's more likely.
Verdant's almost certainly by the end of PQs. Prism is like honestly a coin flip
Whether or
for
not
the
she
last
goes.
week. Um, I don't know. We'll see on that one.
Sure. And I mean, how do those? I assume the meta's going to shake when they leave, right?
Mhm. I don't know that Prism will move the meta that much when she leaves because she was relatively low percentage of the meta.
Mm-hmm.
If she was a 20% representation, then yeah, her leaving would be very significant. Um, but she's not. Verdant's leaving is going to be more important because then all the fatigue decks only have to worry about Acilio, really, is their kind of counter,
Yeah.
or other fatigue decks, um, the more fatiguey decks. So I don't think it's. I think Verdant's leaving will be much more significant. The Guardians, I think, get way better once Verdant's leaves, just because
Guardian's
it's basically
good.
impossible for them to beat Healing Pot combo. Oh my goodness, little
Little
bite!
bite.
Oh my god!
Just wants to play right now. Look at
Oh
this.
my god!
This is the abuse I live with. Holy frick.
No regard.
No regard. All right.
Was that claws out?
Claws out.
Oh
It's
my.
not. It's not like deep. Like I mean,
Yeah,
I
but
would
it's
scream if it
gonna.
hurt, but it's like I don't know. He doesn't know how to play with his claws not out. So
Yeah. What,
all right.
buddy?
I don't know what he's
Just
doing.
hanging out.
He's hanging out. Doll.
Oh.
Weirdo cat.
Yeah.
All right. That's all the topics I have. Is there anything else anyone else wanted to talk about? Anything you wanted to talk about? Um,
I think I'm kind of good.
I'm so excited for callings.
Yeah.
Verdant's leaving means everyone gets to cut AB. Because no one's
Nobody's
blocking Acilio. I'm bringing AB1. There's no way I'm taking AB1 out of my deck. Ever.
That's a real possibility.
Verdant's, or I'm sorry, Vincent, Acilio.
Yeah.
These are
maybe one
decks
of
I have to play with locally at
um,
least, too.
decks that are trying to pure fatigue Acilio could run like Skullcap.
Yeah,
But
that's mean.
I do think the look of Arcane Barrier is going to change a little bit for sure.
Oh my gosh. 1 billion messages. All right. I think that's mostly it. This was a shorter episode. I always say it's going to be a shorter episode, and then it isn't. So I didn't say that this time. So it was. The math is mathing.
I don't know. I'm okay with a shorter episode.
I am too. Feels good. I'm excited for callings. The cube looks great. I'm excited to play that. And yeah, I think that wraps it up. Remember to go check out our merch at the tablepit-shop.fourthrow.com where you can get shirts that say things like
I'm banned from PQs. Barred from PQs.
barred from PQs.
But I'm not yet.
That was great wording choice because banned from PQs implies worse things. So
Probably.
yeah. Cutting AB3 down to AB1.
Some.
Maybe it's my decks, but I've not been playing EB3.
Yeah.
I guess.
I think some decks will keep AB3 if they're like pure fatigue decks like Pleiades. But
You think
yeah,
Huntsman could go down to 1?
no, I don't
No?
think so.
Okay. Fair enough. Where are we? If you want to help make this stream look nicer and help us get supplies for our project videos, you can support us at patreon.com/thetablepit. I'm going to buy steel shoes because what you haven't been seeing is a little bit biting my feet. Kevin, do you have any shout outs?
I put a video up today. It was my tournament report from Richmond. Um, I'm going to, between tonight and tomorrow, I'm going to post a bunch of updates on the primer on Metafy for Prism. Just get some of the writing out that I've been doing that I've been uh, I've been working on and hopefully get it done by one at least post before Prism LLs, but I don't know. My pace has not been great on it, but yeah. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
Monch.
But you're probably going to have a video for when Prism leaves, if Prism leaves soon.
Yep.
That I'm going to help a little bit with. I need to actually get started on my end just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And just a little bit. Okay, also, this is a little unrelated. I made a bot on Bluesky to repost James White and Brian Gottlieb. And I've been getting a lot of notifications that James White will say this, that, or whatever. But they're all replies to somebody else. They're not actual posts, and so that's not getting sent over. I'm wondering if we need to put the replies in, because some of those matter. And then also there's the part of me that's just like, screw the bot. I'm just going to maintain it myself. Because it'll be cheaper. It's like 4 cents a day to run this bot. But I think that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. We do this every Thursday. We have no blocks until Chill Talishar stream, where we do and don't block Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. I need to message Wyatt about it. Chat disconnected. And I think that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. Chat reconnected. Bye.